Hello, hello, how's everyone? Thank you for being here again. Another show today. We have Tito and we have Aaron and myself, Yamil. We're all from Data Meaning. Thank you for being here again. Thanks, Data Meaning, for allowing us to, have the show, do this every week. Today we're gonna talk about careers, specifically data visualizations related to careers. Super cool data visualizations that you will probably seen. You're looking for your son, your daughter, maybe be looking for joining an university, or if you are actually looking to change jobs, you're trying to figure out where to go, what to do, what companies are hiring. So this is a bunch of data related to careers, really cool data. We have, like I said, Aaron, a senior analyst here, senior consultant here at Data Meaning, and Tito, you're also senior consultant here at Data Meaning, right?
That's correct.
So we help people all around the world, right, Tito? Like for Alteryx,
Yeah.
Tableau, Tito does a lot of training. Anything that you need related to BI, business intelligence, Power BI, Tableau, Alteryx, you name it, MicroStrategy, we can do it here at Data Meaning. We can always help you. Anything that you need, just let us know. Contact us. We also have jobs available. So if you're looking to change jobs and you know any of these tools, contact any of us and we help you out. So Tito, tell me a little bit about your career. How you got here?
Oh
Tell me.
man, it's been a long winding path actually.
Yeah.
This I signed up for this episode because
Hmm.
careers, like the whole career path thing, is like near and dear to my heart.
Exactly.
Because I spent 20 years in the Air Force, then I
Hmm.
retired in 2015,
Thank you.
and I took this path that few people that I know of took. Right?
Hmm.
I used to work on airplanes. I worked on missiles. I had a couple office jobs. In my 20 years.
Hmm.
But a lot of the people that I worked with, coming up in the Air Force, they are either still working on the same systems that we worked on, but now as civilians, either as a civilian contractor, like a defense contractor, or in civil service, or some of them, are sitting on the front porch drinking soup out of a can, doing whatever they want to do because they're retired. But
Hmm.
at the tender age of 40, I went out to
Hmm.
find my first job, my first
Yeah.
civilian job. The last job that I had as a civilian, I was like 17 years old. I was a
Wow.
senior in high school. So I was like, man, I need to find a job. And my last position in the Air Force was kind of a low tech data analyst job,
Hmm.
kind of. And so when I got a taste of that, I was like, man, I got to do something like this on the outside. I got to figure out how to do this. And took a while. It took 7 months, but I got my first job. And in that first job, I learned how to use Alteryx and Tableau, and mind
Nice.
blown,
Awesome.
my life was changed. So here I am, almost 7 years later. Wow, I don't know how to math today, but almost 7 years later, and working for Data Meaning.
That's
So
awesome. That's awesome. Aaron, what can you say about careers? What do you wanted to say to your son? I mean, I wanted to say so many things, Tito. You have no idea. Like, don't do all the stupid things that I did. Do it
Start
the right,
early.
please.
Yeah.
It's
we've had
crazy.
I've had conversations with my kids about that.
Yeah. Tell me, Aaron, whatever. What do you wanted to say? Like anything that you wanted to tell the guys out there, or anybody that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
looking.
Start early because
Yeah.
the earlier you get started, the better. My path was a little weird too. I grew up in Illinois, and I was working at a help desk job, and I was a contractor, and my job was going away. And they didn't want to lose me, so hey, we're starting this reporting department. So do this reporting, and it was business
Hmm.
objects and Tableau. And I'm
Ooh.
like, oh, I kind of business objects. I got into it, made sense, and like, oh, this Tableau stuff, like I don't know, it's weird. And then I started using it. I'm like, oh, okay, why am I using business objects at all? So
Right.
got into that, did that for about a year or two, and then got a job down here in Orlando. Stayed Universal for 5 years doing that kind of work, and then here at Data Meeting since last May. So happy to be here doing the things we do.
Exactly. Oh, I have the similar path. I started when I was very young. I wanted to become a big investor like Warren Buffett or something. So I started reading about the Wall Street Journal. My dad kind of like teach me how to read the Wall Street Journal. So I studied finance and worked with different banks. I even work as like they call it those years stockbroker. So I was working as a financial advisor, buying stocks and stuff. But the internet bubble kicked me out of the market pretty much, and I lost almost all my money. And then I went back to accounting and finance, work for different banks, but it was super tough. I always work doing reporting, but it was horrible. All in Excel, manual, a lot of manual work if you work in a bank. And then I moved to Orlando. I actually work in another bank here in Orlando, but then I was tired of the financial services industry, so I went to work for Universal Studios here in Orlando, NBC, Universal, Comcast, and my manager, my current manager, showed me Tableau, and I was like, "Oh my God, where have you been all my life? Why did I have to suffer so much?" And so I started working in BI, and and that's it. From there, just history. I mean, that's why we're all here working with data. Meaning, I also learned about Alteryx. I would say like 2 years after starting using Tableau. I couldn't believe what Alteryx was doing. I couldn't
Oh yeah.
believe that there was something like that out there. After I suffered for almost 20 years doing manual work, and so we're all here at data meeting. Super cool. The other cool thing about these BI tools that I always tell everyone is the community. Knowing
Oh yeah.
people like Tito, knowing like people like Aaron, like Andrew out there, and all these old guys that create stuff in the community and you can share. And like that's one of the reasons why we have this show too. It's the same thing. It's just people that love data and they share what they have or what they know, and that you will never seen that, or I don't remember that in Excel, so, or PowerPoint or any of that. So that's a big one that I always like about BI tools in general, because you can find a good community. But yeah, that's what we're here. It's super interesting. So let's start the show. I mean, we just wanted to tell a little bit everyone about our careers. Honestly, if you're out there, don't know what I mean, contact us. We would love to help you. I try to help anyone that I can, anytime with their career. Don't do these things that I did. Honestly, I should have done so many different things. Just certify, get tools like this early on in your career. Early on, don't wait so long, and you're gonna be so much ahead. So, did you show me what you got today?
All right.
Um, yeah, show me what you got today. Hey, we have Pablo Gomez
Okay.
from London. Pablo, how are you? That's pretty cool. Thank you for
That's
being
good
here,
because
Pablo.
I have a Visita show from a girl in London, so
In
maybe you know.
London, cool. Probably Pablo knows her.
All
Yeah.
right. You can see my
Oh,
screen.
nice.
Cool. All right.
This is
So
nice.
I like this. So I wanted to show this one because it gives you the ability to choose the type of role.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was first starting out, my you're bringing back a lot of memories for me because that last Air Force job I had, I was doing all kinds of stuff in Excel, and then I had a 70 slide PowerPoint deck, 70 slides that I had to do like every 3 months. It was
Mm-hmm.
awful. And then I'd pull all my data out of Cognos, and it was whew. Anyway, one of the things that I came across, one of the issues that I had was that there's no standardization of job titles in data. So I'm like, am I going to be a data analyst? Am I going to be a business analyst? But either way, oh, where did you go? What happened to you? Oh yeah. So
Very nice.
okay, so this is the first page. They got the story going, and it talks about taking a closer look into data careers, and it's got this second page is the one that I was looking at, and so like it gives you the options to change, choose which kind of role you want to get. But I think it's cool that you get to choose like, okay, maybe I
The
want to move to
country.
Belize or something, right? But then there's no data. And it's like, oh, maybe I want to go to Austria, and then there's some data there,
Oh.
but it's so general, and because our job titles are not always apples to apples everywhere you
Mhm.
go, you kind of get some stuff all lumped together, and then like it's I don't think it's like I think you could be more specific in choosing like metro areas. I think that would
Mhm.
be helpful. I'm going to talk about my transition from military to civilian again later because I have an infographic that talks about it.
Very good.
But
Mhm.
the whole thing about like, oh yeah, this is how much I could make.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's not realistic. So anyway,
So
yeah, go
very
ahead.
interesting. Very interesting that it says average work week. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've found that interesting as well. I would also like to see something that has like a job type. So you have,
Mhm.
full time. Sometimes you have
Mm.
contract work, right? Then there's consulting, a little bit different. So I'd love to see something like that as well. I like the job satisfaction rating being
Yeah.
being a smiley face or not so smiley face. Um, I thought
So
that
that
was kind of a good
they seem
touch.
that they'll be satisfied.
I like that tree map down there, which I rarely do. But
Yeah.
each block is the number of employees, and when you hover on each block, it tells you what percentage of
Hmm.
employees in companies that size have those data roles.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
So Tito, if you change it to a different one, does it keep the amount, the number of how many we have? Two, three, four, five, six, like 7 or 8 blocks, I think.
Oh yeah, let me check DBA.
Yeah, so that's so smart.
Ooh,
They reduce the amount of blocks that you have there in the tree map, so that squares, so that it is not that bad. Because sometimes when you have too many, it doesn't work.
yeah. It becomes
Yeah.
unreadable, and then you have to use, you absolutely have to use the tooltips, and then
Hmm.
sometimes people don't change the tooltips from the default, and then it's
Hmm.
like it doesn't really make sense. But I think this person did a pretty good job with like putting info in there
So,
that's relevant.
so if you change it to Japan or China or something, I'm wondering about something.
Let's go.
Let's
Let's
go to
go.
Japan or some
Japan.
Asian country. Yeah, that's what I imagine. More hours work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My question is like, okay, if the median annual salary is about 49 grand,
Mhm.
and that's US dollars, I want to see what like how that compares to the cost of living. Because 49
Mm.
grand in Nashville, like I lived in Nashville for 5 years, right? In
Mhm.
Nashville, 49 grand, I can live in the suburbs, but I could not live in like Davidson County or Williamson County, never.
Mhm.
Unless somebody, I was living in a house with somebody who also made that much money, but like down here on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi, 49
Mhm.
grand, that's pretty
Mhm.
good,
Yeah.
pretty
I
decent.
thought
Yeah.
it was I thought it was interesting the section for overtime requirements. So
Mhm.
from this I have in the U.S. I have it set on all, and I hover on it. It says that 10.42% never has overtime. That seems way too low. Are people working overtime that often?
Hmm.
Mm.
I don't know anybody that works overtime more than once a month at most.
But I wonder if that's like actual overtime, because if you're full-time salaried, there's no such thing as overtime.
Right.
If you're
Uh-huh.
So
military, there
is this
absolutely is no overtime.
is this paid overtime or unpaid overtime?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Mm.
I think that font is
It's a
really
good
small.
question.
Yeah, that is hard to
Like
read.
I'm 47 and I can barely read it. If I was 57, not that. Okay, I take that back. I got
Just
friends
stop. You
out
got to
there who,
stop. Yep.
yeah, I'm about to go grab a shovel. Okay, so, but it's just like kind of small.
It is small, yeah. I'm wondering where it says job satisfaction ratings, those happy faces. Um, I like them, but I don't think that we need to make colors on them. What do you think, Aaron? Maybe just color the red and the just color the red. The other ones could be gray,
I think
right?
I'd rather see something else there
Something else.
so again it's in the paragraph at the top. It says if you're considering a career, if you're contemplating about this career, it would be good if you had all these compared in one chart so you could see how the job satisfaction rating is from one to the other without having to click the filter and go back and forth. And then because it doesn't give you the number, it's just a
Right.
face, you have to hover on it to even see what that number is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it'd be good to be able to see that, compare all four of those compared against each other in one view.
Yeah.
It's good that it's one. I like that it's one cheat. Not a lot. There's not a lot here. Maybe the icon's too big, but
Yeah.
um,
I think some places like the text is
it.
so small. Like the text here, that's the fine print right there, right? And it's
Mhm.
the same size as the text here. And it's like, why did you make it so small? I
Yeah.
can't read it, so I'm gonna zoom in, and it's like, oh, and then now it's
Wow.
blurry, but it's blurry, but I
Yeah.
zoomed in. What are you
Yeah.
gonna do?
It's kind of funny that it looks like a kid's book or something. Kids
Yeah, yeah, it
have
sure
that
does.
child look-alike thing. I don't know.
You know, with the faces and the star. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it looks like
kids,
a.
kids in my class would get those stars for good behavior. I say kids in
Mhm.
my class because that wasn't me.
It's kind of funny.
I see all the, like, wherever I hover and I see a number, they all have two decimal places.
Hmm.
Not that
Yeah,
it's a big deal, but if you go to the next page, they even have one that's got three decimal places. There's two different places that have three decimal places. That's getting a bit far. I don't see what
yeah,
any value in going that far
Oh,
out.
nice.
yeah.
I mean, this one.
5.77 languages, right? Oh yeah. So then this was another one that I was kind of iffy about. So, these are all like your standard education levels, whatever, but shout out to Nashville Software School. I take part in every quarter. I take part in the data analytics roundtable, which is it's like a mentoring session for the current classes that are going through Nashville Software School. And so these are people who are in a career that are wanting to get into like a data career. So they're going to this boot camp or they're going to school, part time. And then there's like no representation here. You know, there's not anything like that here. But I know that I know several people who have gone through it and who are successful in their careers. So it'd be nice to have some representation for like non-traditional. I am non-traditional, so that's what I'm looking for.
So Tito, in that education levels section, where would you fit in here?
Oh
Like no formal education, or
no, I mean, I could I would be a master's degree. I People say, you sign your life away when you join the military. Yeah, I only did it 6 times, but it's for every enlistment, right? And they're like, "Oh, you got free college." I'm like, "Bro, I just said I signed my life away, free
Yeah.
college, for 20 years." But I actually used my GI Bill. I used my Air Force tuition assistance to get a bachelor's degree, and my bachelor's degree is kind of generic. I'm not even gonna lie. I knew that I wanted to do some kind of data job when I got out of the military, and so I was close to finishing a whole bunch of different bachelor's degrees. So I found one that I could finish in the amount of time that I had left in active duty, and
Mm.
I would be able to have a couple of sequel classes. I was like, oh, I need that. So I have a bachelor's degree. And then
nice,
when I retired, I went to Southern New Hampshire University and got my master's in data analytics.
very nice.
But yeah,
So
I was like
let
85
me
years
Yeah,
old
that's
when I.
awesome.
let me re- let me rephrase that question then. Is if someone
Yeah.
didn't go through the and get any kind of formal education, they just stayed in the military until they were 40, and then try to enter the workforce. Where would they fall in that? Because it's just an
Oh,
unknown to me. Is if you didn't do what you did, where how would employers look at their resume and their qualifications?
most people, if they went to 20 years, they probably have an associate's degree through the community
At least
college in
that.
the Air
Okay.
Force. Yeah. There were like on my evaluations, I had to have been in school to get certain marks on my evaluations. It's like,
Mm.
are you in school? I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. Just take classes. Okay, I'm just taking classes. So I have like 300 something credit hours of things that are not always related.
Yeah.
Hey, Tito, go back to the previous one because I have something
All
from
right.
James and Len Otulu. Len, he was very good. Yeah, so James is saying, although the role in the tooltip changes, the metric for overtime requirement
Oh,
doesn't change.
there's data
Mm,
business analyst, data scientist. Oh, good catch. I didn't see
yeah,
that.
that's a very good one. It's a very good one. And Len have really good stuff here. So tell me what you think about this, Aaron. First screen, the various sizes of the smiley faces are confusing. Yes. Does the size mean that's correct? Why does it have different sizes? Something different from the vertical position. Probably better to have all icons the same size. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why
Email.
does it have that the red is as well? Could it be because of the percentage?
It's probably,
Tito?
yeah, whatever that percentage is, and they just put it on size. But like we recall from our days in doing survey data at Universal, you don't really want to use smiley faces unless you're required to by an executive. Those are not good way to show that data real well.
Well, this is
Yeah.
very interesting, Tito. Look at the orange and the red. They're not really smiley face. They're like
No.
sad faces.
This dude is angry. I
It's
mean, why would you
angry.
be
Yes.
red with your mouth open? Unless you're angry and growling. Versus that one was just sad.
So there's one thing that I 100% agree with Len, and I do this all the time. I was even doing this morning. The horizontal bars are always best is sorted highest to the lowest, from
Yes.
top to bottom. Just reads better, and you can see those who are not sorted.
Yeah.
I can see why they did it that way, because it's from 0 to 5 basically, and if you sorted it descending, then you'd have to follow along in the text of what you're reading, because
Okay,
you don't know that it's 0 to 5. It
because
could be
it's a
0
survey.
2 5
Mm.
3 4. You'd have to look at the text and the bar and go back and forth. But if you so I think that's why they probably did it this way.
Could it be going to be a different way to make it better? I mean, it's just it really is. I'm wondering how can you
Yeah. I
sort
think
that?
I think they also really made this section smaller so they could accommodate the larger
Mm.
happy faces. Now, if you had like some kind of normal viz over here, it could be smaller, and then you'd be able to have larger font that normal people can read, instead of having
What,
to
Aaron? What
zoom in.
about keep it there, Tito? What about the famous divergent stack bar? You remember that one, Aaron, from Steve Wexler? He had this specific stack bars or bars that are like they all look like they're in the middle. I think it's called divergence stack bar or something like that. I think that could work,
Mm.
but I'm not sure if that will apply in this case. Or you can put them all um kind of like together, like I said in that or I mean honestly you just need a score or something. It's just not the best way to represent that data, right?
Yeah.
Or what about you have never on the bottom? You know what I mean? Like the same thing, but it's just starting with the highest or the ones on the bottom. I think it will work better.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, Tito, you have any other Tito that you can show
Yeah.
us? Okay, show
Let me
us.
go on to this guy right here. Okay, so then this one is the USA Data Career Landscape.
Mm,
This one I thought was fairly interesting.
mhm.
But again, it's like I don't know what kind of stuff they did with like normalizing job titles, or if they just pulled stuff that says, oh, data engineer, data analyst, data scientist, because as we know, I've
Yeah,
never had a job
uh-huh,
title as a data analyst or a data engineer, but I've done both things. So,
exactly.
it's like what? Um, I don't know. It's kind of basic. You get that tree thing again,
Mm.
Aaron. But I think I don't like the red. Use of red is always kind of sketchy to me because it's like, is that bad? Is that, are you highlighting that? It's
And that's
already
the highest.
bigger. It's already bigger. You see the number is bigger. The number
Why
here
does it
is
have to be
bigger.
red? I don't get it either.
But yeah, why
What's
does
wrong?
it have to be red? And
What's
then,
wrong with data scientists? What's wrong with them?
right. And then, so you can see it by sector and all that. It's
curious. They have the three maps at the bottom, which like they're not even. They're like not. They don't fit that window. And if you look at the dashboard size itself, it looks like a weird size. Like, why not space it out? Give yourself some more room, unless there was a specific reason why they needed it for. Maybe that's tablet size. I'm not sure.
Can you make it big? Expand the dashboard to look a little bit. Yeah. Or maybe your screen.
That was the. Do you want me to zoom in?
Zoom in. Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. So you have the sectors here that you could actually make for sure make it a top to bottom, right? You can sort that better.
Oh yeah, and then it has the decimals again. Do we really need decimals? If we're talking about $104,000 a year, do we really need to know about that other $500?
No.
And look,
so
when
that's you're saving some clutter. You're reducing the ink of the dashboard. Doesn't need to have that much information. That doesn't matter.
When you hover on the location by salary, like Texas, median salary 84.5. Is that 84,500 or what? Why is that?
Oh yeah,
such a weird number.
$84.50 an hour. Whoo! It's actually a lot.
Also, one thing that I've noticed that I think I know why those maps are differently sized. Tito, do you have a scroll wheel on your mouse?
I do.
Okay, do it.
Which one do you want me to?
Doesn't matter. They're all that way. So if you were trying to scroll down the page, you actually are zooming in and out of that map.
Yeah.
So I could see that they didn't lock that map so that you can't have those functions.
Interesting.
Let's see, are Hawaii and Alaska included? I don't think so.
I don't think so. No.
Doesn't look like it now.
Why is it only these states?
Do you notice how they repeat darker green means higher value, darker green means higher value?
Oh yeah, right here.
Yeah. So, is there anything that is confusing to anybody? Anything that is confusing? We have say a couple of things how to make it a little bit better, but anything that is confusing?
Going to a Len's point about sorting them, descending or ascending, either way. If you look at that sector where all the colors are blue, there doesn't seem to be a specific sorting reason. It's not even alphabetized. So this is a good case to do that. There's really no reason not to.
Exactly.
Interesting. They haven't matched up with this one. See, IT, business services, finance, healthcare, biotech.
Oh,
so
actually,
like they're
they're
trying to show two different
two metrics.
Two metrics.
If you hover over this at the top of this box, the sector, there's the descending. Just hover on hover on that to the left, right there. No, to the left, to the right. No, you're right where the descending graph is. That little with
this
the
guy.
Arrow.
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
Sorted ascending by number of Glassdoor listings across all values of sector. Okay.
Oh.
So that kind of explains why. It's a bit confusing.
You
feel like you're on a working session trying to.
I still don't understand what is the reason for the circles. The circles doesn't do anything to me on top.
Yeah,
you can just put the numbers.
A little bit strange. Yeah. Why
Just
not?
input the numbers, big numbers, done.
Yeah. And then I may be a little bit, I don't know, kind of like grammar Nazi or like
What'd you find?
spelling. Just, I mean, does it, if it's a title, if it's a job title, do we not want to capitalize the words? I mean,
And then you're repeating data analyst, data engineer, data science. Oh, again.
right. Right. So
I say that's fair. That's fair game.
Yeah.
Huh?
That's fair enough to call that out. Even in the states, it's like that. They didn't capitalize the letter S in state.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the number of employees. Number of employees. Click to filter by company size. Okay. So if you click there, does it do anything? Yeah, underneath.
Yeah, it changed stuff. But that's the 10,000. Listen, my first job was with a company that owns hospitals, and it was way larger than 10,000. That's I mean, that's big, but that's not like some of these huge companies, right? So why did they stop at 10,000? Did they stop at 10,000?
Tito, you had mentioned that why in the states, why are there so few listed there?
Yeah.
There's no at the bottom or someplace that's usually a good practice to put where you got this data. And we have no reference of why that is. There's a logical reason. It's the companies that they had data for or whatever, but having no context on the dashboard does not help.
No. Interesting. Cool. Can I move on to the next one?
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a look at let's look at this one. This is also like super general, super kind of simplistic. Where you can choose the different job title, and we actually have management consultant in here. Look at that. But then there's like a manager level, and then I think we're missing some things on here, like data engineer, software engineer, business analyst versus data analyst. Again, I don't know. The sometimes they're different. But then I think I don't know, you guys are the experts. Tell me, like, when you have a multiple select drop down, and every time you deselect something, it changes the graphics. Do you not want to put the apply button there?
Yes.
Always.
Yes. I mean, it's a good idea.
Because I feel like when you don't do it, it's like, oh, I gotta do this every time, and it hits the data source every time, right? And if you're hitting a SQL database, it's gonna be like query, query, query every time you make a change, right?
Yeah. So if you put apply, it's just so much better for the user experience, right? It's just so much better because it makes their life easier.
Yep.
I mean, they have to do apply, but at the same time, then you don't get that.
Yeah, unless it's the option between two things, then you don't need it. You can just make it just a bullet instead of a checkbox, so that you can toggle between the two.
Right. Yeah, like
I'm wondering.
Radio button.
Yeah, radio button. Thank you, sir. I'm wondering about this average and median base salary. Is there any reason to have both of them displayed at the same time? Would it be easier to be able to toggle between the two? Like these are so close together, and they're almost the same shape in the line. Do you need to have both of those on there at the same time?
Yeah.
Tell me what you would do. Like why they use a line graph here instead of a bar chart. I was always told, like, with a bar chart, I know that things change and things can be, there's different conditions, but like with a line graph, you want to use that for like time, as time passes, right? But then when you're comparing things, would you not want to use a bar chart here so you could see, clearly and distinctly how much each one is.
Yeah, it's a little odd that they're using to compare things with that bar. I'm sorry, with the line chart, and it doesn't make too much sense to me. Why they wanted? I mean, honestly, you could do. Let me see, average and median base salary.
You could have done a
What
dual
would the
axis.
scatter plot? What if you do scatter plot? You're comparing average versus, I don't know, maybe I'm not sure because they're not specifically two different. Actually, could you combine both of these? Maybe with scatter plot or something. James, what do you think? And James, I like how James have a very good. I don't know. I think that James, you have a very good thing to look at things out of the box.
Yeah,
What
Yamil,
can we do with this on the top? I mean, I
that
think that doesn't make any sense. This.
yeah, that is a good idea to do it as a scatter plot. You could do one as one axis is average years of experience, and another one as either the average or median, or be able to toggle between the two, and then that would give you a view of all of them together.
Definitely comparing using a line chart to compare. I don't even remember seeing something like this before.
Yeah, Tito, when you first showed this, I didn't pay attention.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I'm looking like, oh, over time it's going down. Like, what's going on? And then you mentioned that. I'm like, oh, these are all the job titles. I wasn't even
This is the job titles. That doesn't make any sense. No. This needs to be like you said. Let me see. I mean, the bars you can compare one to the other, right? If there were bar charts. But honestly, this is just not the best way to compare there's different average years of experience in this. Let me see, business analyst, data science. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And then again with the education, I understand that like it's probably just in the data source.
James have a good idea. Bar and bar might work.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Bar and bar. I like that.
That would work well, I think.
And then Len says, agree, line chart is wrong based for the top right here. There's no concept of trending when looking at categories. Bar is probably the best choice. Yeah, bar or something that I mean, I think I will try the scatter plot just to see how it looks. Maybe because maybe you put it in the scatter plot and then maybe you don't get anything out of it, right? It's maybe more confusing. Maybe it's not a good story. So maybe you wanted to do. I mean, but the bar chart will work fine.
So let's talk about the bottom section here because it's a little confusing.
Oh yeah,
it's confusing too.
So I'll tell you what is a little confusing is let's look at the gender distribution, and that top bar is 358 math. But the bottom one is
zoom in, Tito.
And the bottom one is 12,000, but the length of that bar is the same for every single one.
Oh yeah.
So what it looks like they did was they set the bar to percentage of total, but they put the text just as the count rather than what the actual percentage is.
That's crazy. This happens all the time.
Yeah, so that's like misleading.
Doesn't make any sense.
1053 and 785, and 785 looks like it's bigger, but with it being the percentage, it being 75.94% versus 72.
Years ago, last year when we started doing the show, we found so many of this, and we call it size blind.
Yeah.
Because it's just. I don't understand. I mean, that's incredible, Aaron. That's a good catch.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah,
it just makes no sense.
Both of them are like that, and you also can't tell what any of those colors mean unless you hover on it.
Oh yeah, no legend, huh? And then again with the red. Stop with the red. Killing me.
Incredible. Master's degrees.
Incredible.
All right, my last two are just like infographic type things, but people have often asked me, hey, what's the difference between all these different things, right? And again with the general titles, job titles, I thought this was pretty cool because it gives just like kind of a rundown of things that you would use in each of those positions, and
Okay.
with including like different
That's
types of
perfect.
programming
Thank
and
you.
stuff like that. So
Mm.
I thought that was pretty
Very
cool.
nice. Very nice. Yeah, is this cool? You know what is this cool for? Students, people that are starting out, people that want to change careers. Very cool to show them something like this. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very easy to understand.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see that the data scientist and the data engineer both have that programming icon and the wording above it, but the data analyst does not. So if
Yeah.
I don't do coding myself and programming. So if I'm like I want to go into data, well, I don't want to be any of those two because I don't know any of those things. So I'm gonna see what jobs are available in this data analyst role.
Yep.
That's good.
Very cool.
Yep.
Very good. I like
Yeah.
it too. I like
And
it.
okay, so the last one I was going to do is it's from militarytransition.org.
Okay.
I thought there was a lot of stuff on here that was like super impactful for
Okay.
me it would have been super impactful for me had I seen it when I was retiring. Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
So like there's this one right here where it talks
Mhm.
about this number right here. 48% of veterans indicate their transition is more difficult than expected.
Very nice.
That's facts. I remember my first year working as a civilian, and I had a breakdown because normally what I would do is like I would set out all my clothes that I was going to wear for the week, because for 20 years, man, I just wore the same thing. I would change my socks and my underwear, but I wore the same thing, right? But I would lay all my clothes out, in my closet, and then one week, my wife she was like washing something. She's like, oh, I'll just wash your stuff, and then she washed the stuff and then put stuff back in there. And I'm like, I don't know what I wore yesterday. I really don't know what I wore yesterday. And she's like, why does it matter? And I started to freak out because I was like, man, I don't want people to judge me like I'm some dirty dude, walking in here sleeping in the clothes that I wore yesterday, right? And
Mhm.
so it's funny. It kind of makes me laugh now, but man, at the time it was not funny. There are things like
Mhm.
that. Also, this one right here, this was very impactful. 38% indicate their first civilian salary or pay was worse than expected.
Wow.
Absolutely. Man, I did all kinds of research, and I looked at the cost of living in Nashville, average salaries, yada yada yada. But there's not really anything for 40-year-old man who has like all this experience that sort of has stuff to do with, but sort of doesn't have stuff to do with the career that he's trying to go into. And so I came in at like, I don't know, 20 grand less than I thought I was going to make in my first job. And so it was startling. It was like, ooh. And it was a big pay cut from what I made as a non-commissioned officer in the Air Force. So
Yeah. Do you know
anyway,
what is interesting in this one, Tito? Where it says, learn to translate skills, 83%.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's one. Oh, so we talked about that at the Nashville Software School Data Analytics Roundtable. When people are coming from another career, I was in a room with another mentor who was a concert violinist, right? And now he's doing like data sciencey stuff, and he's worked for some big companies. And so he said, how do I? Oh, Jamal Baker, that's my boy right there. We were in the Air Force together. So
Thank you for being
but
here, Jamil.
but
Yeah.
he's like, how do
Very
I
cool.
translate this on my resume? Well, talking about attention to detail, man. If you're a concert violinist, you got to play all the notes, not just some of the notes. You got to play
Mhm.
in the right key. You got to come in when you're supposed to come in. And so
Mhm.
he talks about those things and translating. And there are people out there that will help you. They specifically have their career is to help military people translate what they did on the inside to how it could be applicable to whatever career they're trying to chase after on the outside. So it was tough though. If I can find my original resume, man, I'll send it to
Mhm.
you guys, and you'd be like, I have no idea. Is this even in English? I don't
Mhm.
know. It's terrible. It was awful.
Yes, find that for us.
Yeah, I'll go look for it. I promise. But that's all I got.
Awesome. Aaron, show us what you got. I mean, um, I'm gonna put mine too in the chat so people can start looking at it. You guys gonna like this? Yeah, just show your screen and.
Okay, you see it?
Yeah, we can see it.
All right, so this was one that I presented at a college this week for their data viz class to give them an idea of their lifetime earnings depending on the major that they're in. So there's
Zoom in.
Zoom in. Okay,
Yeah, zoom in if you can, please.
There we go.
Okay.
It almost looks like freshly cut grass. You know how it kind of just lays over the
Oh,
dead
great,
ones.
Aaron. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah. So you had all the colors depending on what degree that you have. And then here you can select a major and top pay major by degree level. And then here's all those jobs that are those top paying by that level. But one I wanted to talk about, not necessarily how this is laid out, but I want to tell about a story that I found. If you want to be in IT management, which is one thing that became interest to me when I looked at this. So tell me, what insights do you guys see from this chart right here?
MBA seems to be kind of like better than. I'm looking for the PhD. Where's the PhD?
Okay, that's one thing. People don't get PhDs in this field.
Okay.
Or associates. There's no associates.
Or associates. Very good.
So could it be, Tito, because the masters are more on anything that is no business, business and economics, you're right?
Yeah.
And it's in maybe history or other stuff. Who knows?
Oh.
I'm wondering if that is, but I'm not 100% sure.
So this is, I'll tell you what I see from this. Is that these green and blue lines switch.
Yeah.
Okay, but they switch in a direction that you would think they would be the opposite. So what I mean is this master's degree starts out at a higher salary than this MBA.
Oh.
Okay.
5 to 10 years in is significantly higher. It's not until you get to 10 to 20 years into this career does it switch back, but it's still super close. And then once you get up here, it obviously it's the largest difference of about 20 grand. But the question I would have if I was going into this is it worth getting an MBA? Mm-hmm. If for the first 20 years of my career, I'm going to be making more than if I got an MBA, do I even need it? So I thought that was an interesting story there.
Tito, do you think, for what you remember, I remember, the MBA will cost me more than the masters, maybe, right? At the business schools or the universities, or maybe close?
I mean, it depends. I remember I signed my life away to get quote unquote free education. So I was on the GI Bill when I finished my master's.
But that's a good call, Aaron. Is it worth it if you have to wait so long?
Right, and by this point, 20 years in, you're probably at the executive level, you know, making $400,000 or whatever. But I just thought that was an interesting story. Let's see if I can find the other one. Yeah, this one. This is. I got two more to show. So here we're looking at. This is someone's story of their career into one viz, and it's a long, lengthy visualization. I'll show you. But in general, the green is the data science, red is other careers, purple is soft skills. Yes, Tito, they should not have used red, and no, they probably shouldn't have used green either for those that are colorblind. But anyway, so as you go down, you see he's put in dots for each one of these up here at the top, and he's got call outs to things that happen along his career path.
Well, this is great.
You know what this reminds me of?
The resume, right? It's exactly
yes.
a resume, right?
Yep.
You know what this reminds me of? Those straws that we used to get with the little bead candies in it. That's what that looks like to me. It could be just because I'm kind of snacky, but whatever.
And you could see, you know, this person didn't start in it. You could see just by the colors. He started in red, and you can see as you go further down, it's green. Now it's almost all green and some blue. Green is the data science. Also interesting is if you click on any of these, it'll highlight below specifically that category. So it wasn't
Well, it's
until
good.
here, which he called out, this is
That's
my
cool.
first data course. And
I
it just
like it.
it just fills in with all of that data work that he did.
Wow. Really transitioning from the
Very nice. Hey,
reddish
there is a
brown.
comment, Aaron. Just I know that it's on the previous bits, but it's a really, really good comment.
Go ahead.
So he says, James is saying they need to distinguish between MBA and executive MBA, because remember there is all those executive MBAs which are sometimes, I believe, they're like less years or short MBAs, and they're like more for the executives. That you need to have some experience, specific years and stuff, and sometimes specific position to get the executive MBA.
Right. It's like part-time school, right?
Yeah.
Like, University of Georgia, Terry College of Business. I was wanting to go there originally, but because I thought I was moving to Atlanta and not Nashville. But it was, you'd go on nights and then sometimes on Saturdays, and it was a different track than the regular MBA.
Exactly.
Okay, I want to move on because we only have like 9 minutes left. But that's all I wanted to show you here. Is just a weird, different way. I've never seen a dashboard laid out with all of these points.
And as a resume.
Last one I have here is they're talking about being priced out of a career. So they're talking about how women in London can't afford to work and pay for daycare for 0 to 2 year olds.
Very interesting.
So this is an interesting way to lay this out. You got the bars for salary by percentiles. So here's the 10th percentile. Here's the 80th percentile. If you hover on it, it kind of gives you some math. It's in euros, so I can't really understand any of it. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Euros or pounds?
Again, that's a good question. Probably pounds. You're right.
Yeah, still.
So you've got the women who can't afford, the women who can, and then here each row is a group of job titles.
Oh,
this is very good.
So what I like about this even more is you have this. I'm like change and model and settings. I'm like, what is? It's just one thing. It's to change the model settings. I read it incorrectly. So
that's funny.
Like I thought I was going to click on 3 things. Anyway,
yeah,
so
me too. That's what I thought.
When I click on this, look, you can enter in specific amounts, and it will change that chart. I like that it's hidden. Change that model, and then hide it again, and then look at your visual. So if your percentage of rent is a quarter, it changes that graph. If your utility cost is only 0.005, okay, maybe you're going to get some more changes there. Percentage of food, let's go 5%, not 0. But what I appreciate about this is that you have the ability to they presented a dashboard and are telling a story, but enter in your story. What do you think is the right number for your situation? And it allows you to see that.
I really like it because of what you said. So you can make it your own. It gives you the data sources, what you were talking about before, data sources right there. And it actually explains you how to use it and all this additional information.
Yep.
So go up again, they go up. Wow. Okay. I'm trying to understand. Okay.
Wait a second. Hold on. I want to reset it because I got too many things selected. There we go. There you go.
Very interesting. So the red means the woman who can, and then the woman who can afford. And what is the black square? What are the black squares?
So that's probably women who can afford. So like if I looked at this line, they're saying that in this survey or whatever, 79,000 women could not afford nursery in the 10th, 20th, 30th, 40th, 50th, and 60th, 70th percentile. But you have to be in the 75th percentile at whatever salary that is or higher in order to be able to afford it. And that only accounted for about 34,000 people.
Wow. That's nuts. That's cool that you can change the model settings, not change and model and settings, but change the model settings.
The other thing that is really interesting is you see how it says from 0 to 2 years old. That means because that nursery at that year is probably super expensive.
They talk about it down here. Now, maybe I'd put this up a little higher. But it says the UK offers 1 year of maternity leave. It's the 2 years
Whoa.
after that makes it super expensive. So it's 278 whatever's a week. So they're saying that if you don't make this amount, you can't even afford to send them to that daycare.
Wow, 1 year maternity leave, man.
That's
You know
a
something?
long time. Oh my gosh.
$278 is what we pay here. I think here is very expensive too. In the U.S., yeah, it's really
Wow.
expensive.
All right, so that's all I've got. Yamil, do you want to show yours? You got one to show us?
It is in the put it in the chat. It's the last one that I sent you. I actually changed my mind
Okay.
on something really cool here. I don't know. I found this interesting, related to all of us. So this is. Let me see if I can make this a little bit. Oh, always does that. I want to see something here. Let's look at this. This is from the Data Visualization Society survey, and it's early career in data business. So let's see. It's actually really interesting. So what you can see is how long does, on average, does someone spend in various data-based activities? So data prep, data science, and design. And what you have here is, this is the number 1, and then you click in here, and then you get number 2, data prep, number 3, data science, and then design. Yeah, very cool.
Cool.
It shows you a lot about what's going on, in prep, data science, and design. One of the cool, and then you can also look at that, and then you can hover. You can get great information. So why did I like this about? And just imagine if we're consultants, or anybody that it's want to hire someone, or anybody that is looking at different from rates to average experience to specific tools that save you time if you're a consultant or not a consultant, or if you're just doing this. I mean, this can tell you. This can definitely tell you.
That's
I think
cool.
the only ones that give you that tooltip is on the top. I don't think these ones do.
Oh, I'm
Tell me
impressed.
what you think, Aaron.
What's that?
I was
What
gonna
do you
say
think? Go ahead, Tito.
Go
Go ahead, Tito.
No, I was just gonna say I'm impressed with the fact that they didn't use any shade of red.
Yeah. Well, this is because probably they're like biz experts. This is the big guys. The Data Visualization Society. Hopefully they did it right.
Right. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah. So
did you do the up and down arrows yet?
Yes. So when you do that, look, we did that. We now get the data prep. So let's look at the data prep, Tito. For example, you know this because you're using Alteryx every day. So look at that, almost 8 hours. So this is very interesting for this reason, Tito. If you're young and you're starting out, or you are like somebody with a lot of experience, it almost takes you the same time. That's very interesting. So that means that you need a better tool to speed up the time.
Yeah, I mean, if it's taking 8 hours to prep, I don't know what their data looks like, but if you use Alteryx, you can cut that down significantly. I promise you.
So what is funny to me about this is, Tito, look at this. What will I pay someone with a lot of experience? We can see they're 4.5 years. That average, if this person that only have 1.4 years, it's spending the same time, 7.9 hours. I don't understand what is the reason. They're really not going ahead in time. They're not really going faster than the younger.
Yamil, when you hover on that tiny little dot, they're all 3 the same. That graph is the same. But look at that 2 years of experience for the young grasshoppers. They're making $800 an hour.
Really? Is that what it means? Shoot.
I want to click on it and find out what that is,
Yeah, that needs to be that is impossible. You don't think that's too high?
It's
outlier.
like those blue ones on the far right side, those aren't much higher than lots of the other columns for years of experience. So like, are you saying that years of experience don't matter? It's just where you get hired on at?
That's a good question. So let's go to the sign to see if the sign looks a little bit different, Tito. Let's see. Okay, I now understand less. Because
I need a little context.
Yeah. So Jamal, I think that look at Aaron pasted that in the link. I'm not. Hopefully you can see it there. I'm not sure if it's coming up, but
the link to this viz.
To this biz, yeah, I think you did, right?
Yeah, I put it in there.
So this one makes less sense to me. So why will the top guys are spending more time on data science than these ones, which have, let me see, 3 years of experience?
That guy is making $800 an hour up there still.
Man, I really think there was a typo or something.
Yeah, but look at those other ones. That 3 years experience is at 600.
600, yeah.
And another one that like 450.
Special data forces, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
But even the one most experienced ones on the far right, the 4 and 5 years, they still have circles near that 0 line. How is that possible?
Pro bono, man. Some people are just working because they love to work, I guess.
Oh, cool. So James says that he's saying, if anybody look in the chat, he says that the link to the data source data has some more charts. GitHub Data Visualization Society data visualization survey. I'm sorry. Thanks, James, for that. This is very interesting. So look, 6.9, like the ones in the middle, right? The middle group spending more time in data science. I mean, could it be that these people can do it faster with more experience, or they're focusing on the better stuff? So let's look at the last one, which is the one that I was looking for, the sign. Okay. So in what could be seen as somewhat expected, the more green visors spend more time on the sign than any group on average. So this one 6.0 hours and 5.6. So I mean, if you think about it, then the people that have 3 years of experience is a pretty good, experience level that you can hire people to do data visualization, the designer or something, right? Like maybe that's your best bet. You don't need tons of years. I mean, it's a couple of years.
I'm curious if they should have put that in like an actual salary number rather than an hourly rate. Because does anybody know what $57 an hour equates to?
Or 100,000.
It's about 118,000. But that 800,000 or that 800 an hour, which I can't get off of, is $1.6 million a year.
Who is that?
Yeah,
it's one person.
This is the one that gets me crazy. The data prep. So it actually says here, the more experienced visitors spend slightly more time on average on data prep than their less experienced peers. What does that mean? I thought it would be the other way.
Okay, so imagine this: you've been in this field a long time, and you're using legacy tools, but these young guys coming in that know all tricks are spending less time because they've got a better tool to use. Is that possible?
Yeah. It is definitely possible.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So James have a good idea. He said, James saying, design duties are broken down by primary, secondary, and minor. Yeah, I don't know. We will have to learn more about the specific way that they ask this survey, or who do they ask this survey to. And he's saying that okay, cool. There's also more information here. This is some of the visualizations that James was talking about when you click on that link. I'm just trying to understand. I want to make better decisions, but don't have the time and energy. Strongly agree. Okay. This is cool. This looks like wine. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like looks like wine or something. And then see. Oh wow. Oh wow. Data visualization in my job, 249 respondents. Data visualization only part of my job, 731. You can see D3, Excel. Wow. Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool. I mean, I was not expecting that, I was not expecting this type of I don't know, findings, but anyway, super cool. We're past the hour right now. So guys, just wanted to say thank you everyone. Thank you to Tito for everything. Thank you, Tito, for always sharing your history. Or I mean, from the veterans. I mean, thank you for your service again. I mean, many times I always like to say that. I mean, super proud and thanks for being with us. I mean, super important to recognize individuals like you, veterans. I mean, that's super important in this country and everywhere in the world. Should be like that. And thank you for your service. Thank you for everything, like always, and everybody in the chat. And hope to see you next week. Which one we have next? Oh, coffee. So if anybody wants to participate next week with us, we have Joe. Joe is amazing. He loves coffee. He's from Bislip. He's a coffee, I don't know, like guru guy that loves coffee and all that stuff. So he's gonna be with us. He also does a lot of data, so data visualizations and data things with his company Bislip, and he's gonna be with us next week. So if you like coffee and love coffee, hey, more than happy to. You can be with us. I mean, just sign up and let us know, and you can be with us next week. And we're gonna discuss some visualizations related to coffee. That should be really cool. And yeah, next week will be that. And also thanks to Data Meaning for allowing us again to do this. And if you need anything related to BI, anything from training to implementation of servers or anything related to Tableau, Alteryx, Azure, Microsoft, anything Microsoft products, I mean, we can definitely help you. We're here to help you. And like Aaron put it in here, Data Meaning is looking for work. I mean, we need people. Just let us know. And we're 100% remote. You can do it from anywhere. So take advantage of that. If you want to do remote and your company doesn't let you do remote, we can do it for you. We have a 100% remote company. So
someday, Yamil, I'm gonna have a day where I spend at the beach and I work from there.
Someday, absolutely.
I'll make it happen.
Absolutely. Yeah. So thanks everyone, and I have to see you next week. And thank you, Tito, again, and thank you so much. All
right.
Really cool stuff. Really cool data set today. Thank you
guys.
All right.